for a whole minute, and then by the time you guys heard me again, I was probably on a completely different subject. But oh well, I'm sure you can put the pieces together. Hope you guys can. By the way, person who's doing the observing is Jake Hawkeye Cole, who is the main guy and organizing all this stuff together here for the RSL. So big props to him. And he's probably like, he probably turned off the stream for a minute and he's like, oh man, Droopy's still talking because he's in a call with me right now. That's how it's working, of course, since he's the one streaming and my audio needs to be on that stream. He's probably like, oh, he's still talking. Like, the stream's not on, dude. Shut up. But, uh, well, that's okay. That's kind of what I can do. Just talk your ear off and just not even realize the time flying by, right? Well, we're already in game 3, so time really does fly. And it's match point, so let's watch this thing load and see what's up. All right, folks, game number 3. And this player right here on Iron Fortress Ellie, bottom left-hand side of it, he's on the ropes. He's down 0-2. He's looking for that first victory, that little ounce of momentum, because he's got his work cut out for him in this uphill battle. But it all has to start here. Playing for Team Spectre, guys, is KellerMaN. And on the other hand, we do have the yellow Protoss player on the upper right-hand side. He's in a nice, comfortable position. Is that going to afford him the opportunity to do something crazy? I don't know, but playing for Brawl Esports, it's Zeal. So the guy's crowning out probes. Well, it is 11 supply, so you're going to have to expect that. And I'm really curious to see, because, man, I got to tell you, game 3s are where things really pop off for players, because you're in a position like this, there's so many mind games involved. There's just a lot of mind games involved in StarCraft in general. When one guy is ahead like by that much and the other guy isn't, and the other guy who's losing has to, consider, like, do I play, super passively, really conservatively and safe so I don't, completely throw this last game, and then the other guy, it's like, do you have to worry about him playing really cheesy or aggressive to try to get that quick shutout or something along those lines? There's so much you have to consider, and I think it's really easy to get rattled by that, to really overthink things. And so I think in KellerMaN's position, really what I would personally do is just play it by what you see. Play standard, just do your thing, what you've been doing this whole time, but then be really vigilant about what you're seeing. And that's all you can really do. It doesn't sound fancy, because it isn't. You can't get fancy at this point, right? You just don't have the latitude to do that. Zeal, of course, the world's his oyster here. What's he choosing to do? We do have so far 2 gases, not full saturation quite yet, just 4 probes. Cybernetic score on its way at the moment. Looking at KellerMaN, very much the same thing, although he looks like he has just saturated his gases. Both players opening up very similarly. Most likely going to see a Stalker and Mothership Core come out for both guys. Yep, that is going to appear to be the case for yellow, but yeah, it's really the same stuff. Difference, one guy wants for Stalker first, Mothership Core second. It's really the variation we're looking at here. Nothing too crazy. Warp Gate being researched as well. Now, of course, we got to keep an eye out for tech. What's that going to be? Now that both these players have gotten their cyber, the requisite units beyond that. And then we'll really start to see this game tape shape, right? That's kind of PvP in a nutshell. So Twilight Council there for Zeal. And you know what? Blink worked so fantastically for him last game. It really did. Game 1, he didn't go for that. He went for Stargate, which really never came into play. It was just really a 3-gate pressure. Snuck his way into his opponent's base, and that was that. So now he's going to go with Blink again, and KellerMaN is going to go with Blink as well. So we do have a Twilight Council a fair bit behind that of Zeal's. So I don't think that's going to be too big of an issue, especially if he, chooses not to attack first. Then we're going to see the blink be done by the time Zeal makes his way over. But I do have to say, though, last game KellerMaN played safer. He wanted to defend. He played to defend, and he took his Nexus a lot sooner, but he couldn't hold it. That's kind of the issue, right? I mean, back in Wings of Liberty, there was this cliche about PvPs where the guy who expands first is always the guy to lose. That has been less true in HOTS because of the presence of Photon Overcharge, but last game was kind of a demonstration of that again, right? KellerMaN just kind of didn't have the units he needed to defend that earlier natural. And then he fell behind because he had to cancel it and he lost units. So let's see if Zeal will try to replicate that here. Although I don't see an expansion for KellerMaN, so perhaps he's already learned his lesson from last game. We're even seeing him go ahead with Robo next. Again, slightly behind that of Zeal. And for some reason in this game, he's just kind of fallen behind on everything. I mean, I'm looking at his worker count, 35 compared to Zeal's 40. And then, of course, like I said, the tech is behind. That's kind of bizarre. I don't really understand what happened here for him. I mean, it must just be like a not very optimal build order, or he focused perhaps on too many units early on compared to his opponent. Yeah, that's what it is. He's got 8 stalkers compared to 5. So that's where his investment went instead of getting up his economy and his tech. So if I'm looking at this and I see more army units for KellerMaN, then he's got to make it worthwhile. He can't just have gotten these and delayed everything else for the heck of it. There needs to be a substantive reason for that. But will he be making that reason attacking his opponent? Doesn't look like it yet. In fact, Zeal's the one who's pushing out. Now, I think it was scouted by that proxy pylon over here on the high ground. I'm not sure if it was scouted, but either way, there is a proxy pylon here for KellerMaN, so at some point he does want to attack. But first, he's going to have to defend. Zeal seeing that there are actually quite a few stalkers here. Ooh, forward blink. Snipes a stalker. Very nicely done. This is PvP, which means this is a mirror match. So if someone has just X more units than you, that's a decisive advantage. Because everything is that equal and easily compared. And now KellerMaN is bringing some additional stalkers warped at that forward pylon. Ooh, has another pylon here as well, right next to what would be a natural. And I think a natural just got canceled by Zeal. I saw a bunch of squares there sort of fade off into the distance. So that's already a nice situation for KellerMaN. This time around, is he gonna exact the same style revenge on Zeal? He's certainly in a position to do it. There are force fields available for that sentry, but does it matter when there's a mothership core providing high ground vision for blink as well as attack? I think KellerMaN here has a good chance, but as the Immortals start arriving, that can change quickly. So there's not a big window here for KellerMaN. So if he wants to make a move, he's got to make it now. Because with Zeal defending, he's going to get those Immortals a lot faster because he has Defender's advantage on that. You don't want to wait too long. Although, yeah, Zeal, he stopped production on Immortals for a little bit. And now he started up again. So that has given KellerMaN a bit of time to mount this attack further. But again, if Zeal is allowed to get up to 2-3 Immortals, that's going to make life really tough here for KellerMaN, who will have just thrown away his lead here and his opportunity to do damage. And I don't see him back home expanding just yet either. So this isn't just simply a contain and KellerMaN just feigning some kind of pressure. He really is all in on this. And look at back home right now. We see Zeal trying to warp in some Zealots here to bother KellerMaN and make KellerMaN commit some warp-ins at home. And here we go. Zeal's pushing out. He's got 2 stalkers in the front. KellerMaN, is he briefly not paying attention here? I don't see the stalkers blinking, but will it matter? Both Immortals have been taken out by Zeal. Zeal now and KellerMaN in a blink war. Let's take a look at that unit tab. 12 stalkers versus 10 of KellerMaN. KellerMaN trying to warp in some more right now. Still momentarily ahead now, actually. Zeal losing another 2 stalkers, and that was a good fight for KellerMaN. Really, truly was. Oh my gosh, back at home, though. The Zealots taking out so many workers. Oh my gosh, KellerMaN just not able to handle 2 things at once. When he wasn't paying attention to this, he was worrying about the Zealots in his base. When he was worrying about this battle, he forgot about the Zealots in his base. And Zeal now
primed in a position to take game 3, guys. He is still locked in his base for a moment, contained in here, but he's got the worker lead. Momentarily, we're going to see him get a stalker lead as well because he can afford to make more. Oh my gosh, KellerMaN. I think that is a smoking gun here. The loss of those probes during that big stalker battle. We're going to see KellerMaN try to go for one last-ditch effort. Oh my gosh, couldn't even blink into the main base with that Zealot being taken out immediately. And of course, the Mothership Core is gone too, so he's got no high ground vision anymore. So he can't even pressure Zeal any further, not to mention that Zeal has taken the lead in army supply as well. So at this point, this is rough. I don't know how KellerMaN here can continue to afford sitting out here and just trying to catch up. It doesn't just happen like that. It really doesn't. I've explained that before in the previous game where your opponent's ahead. He's not going to suddenly just fall behind. This isn't Gold League where, you know, players have problems macroing. Both these players, I'd have to assume, are very adept with macro mechanics if given the time to exploit that. So really, Zeal's more than content to just sit in here. The ball's in KellerMaN's court right now. Here we go. Forward Zealots moving up, taking advantage of the fact no more energy on the sentry. Every other stalker blinks in, forcing off Photon Overcharge, sniping away at Immortal, so that is a good pickup by KellerMaN. But is it going to be enough? Remember, there's Defender's Advantage. Zeal trying to warp in as well. Photon Overcharge is activated. Zeal choosing to fight on the outskirts of that Photon Overcharge, but the Photon Overcharge still finding units to attack. Is that going to turn the tide here for Zeal? Looks like it is. 16 Stalkers to 9 of KellerMaN, and these numbers of Stalkers are falling. The chances of KellerMaN winning are disappearing, as well as the probes. And now we see Zeal doing a little stutter step. That is all, folks. GG. And Zeal's going to take this 3-0, ladies and gentlemen. Very nicely played by the Protoss player from Brawl Esports. And we do have our third round of 4 participant in Zeal. The man's $75 richer now, and KellerMaN will see his exit. But you know what? He has done a great job in the RSL this season, making it all the way this far. So, you know what? Well played, and congratulations to him. And you know what? There's always next season, right? As far as Zeal, though, that was a fantastic PvP effort. A lot of times people say PvP can go both ways. Lots of crazy things happen. But winning 3 in a row, I think it's pretty clear who had the upper hand in this series. So that guy is now in the round of 4. And we'll be looking forward to the second round of 4 match on the night. That's going to be a TVZ game, guys. And boy, do I love TVZ. Especially ever since switching my main race to Terran. I'm horrible at TVZ, by the way, but it's a really fun matchup. Really, really fun matchup. It's going to be between KiToO of Brawl Esports, so he's, of course, a teammate of Zeal, and Sonic from Team Gravity, who's a teammate of mine. So that's going to be interesting to see. And both these two players have recently played each other, so there's a little bit of, you know, that rivalry. Perhaps some feelings of revenge. We'll talk about that as we get into that game. But yeah, so that's going to be another decision of who gets that last round of 4 spot and guarantee themselves $75. I believe both players right now are working on the vetoes for a bit, and or maybe they're already done. I don't know. I hope they are. That'd be awesome. But one way or another, we should be getting started soon. Okay, guys. So while we're trying to figure out what's going on with the next match between Sonic and KiToO, we're gonna have a an interview of Zeal, the winner of the previous series. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Haven't had a chance to talk to this player before, but I'm very curious about what thoughts he has on the games that just came down, and how he feels moving forward in trying to claim the lion's share of that $600 prize. So hope you guys will be interested in that. So we're going to work on setting that up in a bit, and we're going to get to hear from the third round of 4 participant very soon.
Hey, what's up?
Hey there, Zeal. Congratulations on your series victory there. You're in the round of 4 now. Are you excited?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, because you now have $75 guaranteed.
Yeah, I really hope my teammate KiToO wins because I don't want to play against Terran.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing you bring up. You don't like to play against Terran. Do you feel that out of your matchups that perhaps PvP is your strongest? Because you looked really good out there.
I think my PvZ is my best because it was already my best before the patch, and then after the patch, like, Zerg sucks now. And my PvT is definitely my worst because Terran's like the strongest race right now, and Widowmines are really good too.
I see. So I'm sure you'll be looking forward to PvZ if at all possible.
Yes.
How did you feel about these 3 games that just happened? I mean, it looked like you took them pretty decisively. Did you expect that to happen, or did you think that they would be, a little more even?
Yeah, I thought I would win, but I didn't think it'd be like that easy. I thought he was going to proxy Oracle too because he did that a lot in previous games, but he mostly played really safe, so that made it really easy for me to win because I think I'm better than him.
Okay. And what kind of a PvP player do you see yourself as? Because you said he is more of a safe player, at least he was in these games. Do you think you're like a safe kind of player or aggressive? Or
Yeah, I played pretty safe. The first game, like, I did a really aggressive build, but it's also a really safe build. Like, it doesn't really lose to any cheeses, so that's why I did it. And yeah, I mostly play pretty safe in PvP, but then in the mid game, I'm pretty aggressive.
Cool. That's what I like to hear when it comes to Protoss players. Okay, so one last question for you, and we'll let you go off and ladder or whatever. What do you think about this upcoming game? I know it's your teammate who's in it in KiToO, and Sonic's my teammate, but as objectively as you can, what do you think about this upcoming matchup?
Well, I know Sonic hasn't like been playing in a really long time. Like, he just started playing again or something. But I think he's good versus Zerg, and I think Terran's pretty good versus Zerg, and I think it could be a pretty even match because KiToO's also pretty good. So yeah, we'll just have to see.
Okay, well, sounds great. And once again, congratulations on winning 75 at least minimum, and good luck to you in the rest of the tournament. Thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
All right, guys. So right there, we just got some thoughts from Zeal there, our third participant in the round of 4. And yeah, always nice to pick the brain of somebody, particularly in PvP, because I think that's it's an under discussed matchup because people have perceptions about it maybe not being like the most exciting one, but it's really hard. It's really tricky. And when people say things like it's a matchup where anything can happen, where like non-pro players can beat Korean pros, like that just kind of illustrates how difficult that matchup is with the meta game and the decisions you have to make on the fly. So like I said, it's fun to hear from the players involved on that issue. So that was Zeal for you guys, and we should be heading hopefully shortly into KiToO versus Sonic. It's both players, I believe, are, I suppose, still working out their vetoes. And yeah, so just an upcoming sort of update on how things will go for the rest of the tournament. Tomorrow is going to be the round of 4, in which all 4 players will face off. So there will be some kind of conclusion as to who will be in the finals. And then the finals will be taking place at 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific in